Author's note: this video is my review of Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. The original 1966 TV special was directed by Chuck Jones, originally published by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, and now owned by Warner Brothers. Starring the voices of Boris Karloff, Thurl Ravenscroft, and June Foray. Rated G. The 2000 live-action film was directed by Ron Howard, published by Universal Pictures and Imagine Entertainment. Starring Jim Carrey, Jeffrey Tambor, Christine Baranski, Bill Irwin, Molly Shannon, and Taylor Momsen as Cindy Lou Who, with Frank Welker as the voice of Max the dog. Rated PG. The 2018 CGI Remake was directed by Scott Mosier and Yarrow Cheney, published by Universal Pictures and Illumination Entertainment. Starring the voices of Benedict Cumberbatch, Rashida Jones, Angela Lansbury, Kenan Thompson, and Cameron Seeley as Cindy Lou Who. Rated PG.
I must stop Christmas from coming.
The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea.
I'm going to steal their Christmas.
Hey folks, for this video I'm going to be reviewing not one, not two, but three versions of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the timeless Dr. Seuss classic in three different varieties. One by Chuck Jones, one by Ron Howard, and one by Scott Mosier and Yarrow Cheney. So anyway, let's begin with our first ever multi-movie review. We'll start off with the animation that was made in 1966, the original adaptation that captured the hearts of millions of kids and adults even to this day. For 53 years, the Grinch has put up with Christmas all the way to now. He wants to stop it from coming, but just how?
All the noise.
What made the original timeless was a number of factors. The story was simple and easy to follow, just like with the original book. It's all about the Grinch's path from Mount Crumpet to the Who's village just to take away Christmas before it arrives. It wasn't as big of a project compared to the later adaptations, but it fits in perfectly as it should, in about 22 minutes.
Tomorrow is Christmas. It's practically here.
The second reason was the animation team. Anyone who has seen any of Chuck Jones' other projects like on the Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry knows how well his animations are. It's not just how his characters move, but the designs as well. From the cute face of Cindy Lou Who to the bitter expressions of the Grinch, this is Chuck Jones at his best.
These stockings, you Grinch, are the first things to go.
The third is the Grinch, obviously. You can tell he wasn't joking around when he wanted to take away Christmas. In fact, his serious and sinister tone defined the Grinch from his home in Mount Crumpet all the way to the village. It doesn't help that Boris Karloff did a great job with his performance and narration. I think he may have enjoyed it too much.
Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking our Christmas tree?
And finally, this is my favorite part. Just seeing that Grinch steal all the toys and Christmas decorations from the house. He felt like a kid in a candy store, slunking around the house, taking everything, and leaving crumbs too small for a mouse. The cherry on top of this delicious sundae is Thurl Ravenscroft's song that describes the Grinch. Though I think it's too much of a compliment for him if you ask me.
It came without packages, boxes, or bags.
Even to this day, the original How the Grinch Stole Christmas stands the test of time. A masterpiece by Chuck Jones that showcases that Christmas doesn't come from a store, but perhaps a bit more. But how did the other films hold up? Let's find out. In 2000, Ron Howard directed the Dr. Seuss story in its own live-action variation. Despite some criticism, it was a hit, lasting in theaters for 5 months. Much like the animated feature, the Grinch is fed up with the Who's obsession with the holidays. After a painful humiliation, he plans to take away Christmas and put it all on his sleigh.
How dare you enter the Grinch's lair!
Unlike Boris Karloff's take on the Grinch, Jim Carrey was more over the top with his character, chewing the scenery and going all out silly. I actually got a few laughs at his portrayal of the Grinch. But on the other hand, his added backstory and the humiliation he went through by a certain mayor actually made him a bit more of a tragic monster, and a good reason why he stole Christmas.
In your own words, please tell me everything you know about the Grinch.
But one thing I liked about this film was Cindy Lou Who. Unlike in the cartoon, she played a bigger role and had her own concerns for Christmas. She also felt sorry for the Grinch and wanted to play a role in rekindling his spirits. It's also really sad that she gets shamed at by that mayor I'll talk about. Poor kid. At least she had a lot of common sense compared to the rest of the Who's.
You know, if you ask the who,
But I think the reason why I really can't hate this film is that it pokes fun at the Christmas season. All that obsession with buying tons of gifts and the madness that is the celebration of Christmas, all while not understanding why we celebrate the holidays in the first place. Oh, the madness, madness, madness. Sometimes it does remind us that we need to ease up on going overboard with the holiday spirit. Maybe the Grinch had a reason why he hated Christmas in the first place.
Somebody's fabulous!
And now we come up to the stain on the floor. Mayor Augustus Mayhew. He humiliated the Grinch as a kid, all just for the eyes of a certain Martha May Hoovier. And he had the nerve to lash out at Cindy Lou Who, all while he ticked off the Grinch again. Lousy, no-good, self-centered cretin. Sure, he got the humiliation of his life in the end, but I gotta say this, and I'm sorry if it has to be vulgar, but it must be said, this Who jerk.
Cheer up, dude. It's Christmas.
Some bland and crude jokes aside, the 2000 version of The Grinch was rather fun. Sure, it will not top the original classic, but it's got its charms that at least keeps the spirit of the original book alive, especially compared to the live-action remake of The Cat in the Hat. No way are you making me review that abomination. But enough talk. Let's move on to our final review of the video. When the residents of Whoville plan on making their holiday celebrations 3 times bigger, the Grinch hatches a plan to steal it from the ribbons to the glitter.
Oh, hello! Happy holidays!
Unlike with the live-action film, the Who's are a lot more jolly, upbeat, and humble, enjoying every moment of the Christmas season. They were also more lively than even the original, though I think they were a bit too friendly. The backgrounds are even more vibrant than either variation, and I was actually impressed with the Grinch's tactics on stealing Christmas for this film. As for the Grinch, he's as Grinchy as his other counterparts, especially early in the movie. He's not as serious as Boris Karloff's take, nor as over-the-top as Jim Carrey, but he carries some of the charm of both Grinches, though he is scaled back on his meanness. Also, he's on the receiving end of Looney Tunes-style gags, much to his displeasure. I wonder if he needs a trip to the Sanctum Sanctorum just for his own sanity. By the way, when I said that his meanness was scaled back, I actually do mean it. In some cases, we see a kinder side to the Grinch not just towards his dog Max, but overall throughout his character. It was something I never would expect from him. But much like the live-action Grinch, this one went through a traumatic childhood. This time of being the only child without Christmas. It made me feel even more sorry for this version of the Grinch. And they say his heart is 2 sizes too small.
We must resist.
I do have a bit of a complaint. I didn't care much for Cindy Lou Who's story arc compared to the live-action version. The whole idea of capturing Santa Claus felt a bit too childish, even compared to the other variations. But what prevented from being a total downer was her own concern for her overworked mother and who helped the Grinch restore his faith in humanity. Not bad, but I still preferred the live-action Cindy.
Hey there. Sorry, little goat. I was looking for a rain.
I thought I wasn't going to enjoy the CGI remake of The Grinch, but I was rather surprised. It was a step up from the live-action remake, and it felt like its own unique take on The Grinch. It's not going to top the original, but I never expected to. That's good enough for me.
Your soul is in a
But overall, I see the three Grinch films as their own unique take on the Dr. Seuss classic. Even as I give one of them a 5 out of 5, none of them are perfect. And in the end, it all comes down to personal preference. If you want a story that's close to the original book, I would highly recommend the Chuck Jones classic. If you're more into over-the-top humor that also takes a jab at the commercialization of Christmas, go with the one starring Jim Carrey. If you want something that is lighthearted and gives the Grinch a level in kindness, I definitely would go with the new CGI film. But in my personal opinion, there's no wrong way to enjoy the holiday classic. All it boils down to is your personal choice. Whatever take on the Grinch you choose, I hope you enjoy it to the very end.